Part of your wife feeling love will really come ultimately and consistently when you feel appreciated, when you feel your investment makes sense, when your effort makes sense, when your energy, when your financial contribution to the marriage is being appreciated. That's when she's ultimately going to feel the real love, because that's when your heart opens up. That's when you, as a man, stop sacrificing so much and stop being a martyr so much, and you start actually living in flow and being more present and being more loving, because it's going both ways. Tonight we're going to be talking about no compromise, or better said, how to have your needs met. How to make sure that your emotional needs are met, your intimate needs are met, your opinions are respected. And we touched on it in a previous live, but I've seen some guys do it the wrong way. And standing up for yourself is so important that if you do it the right way, it's going to feed the marriage. It's going to strengthen your marriage. If you do it the wrong way, it's going to undermine your marriage, because it's just going to make your wife feel like you're a jerk and you're selfish and you're out of touch with reality. Why is it important that your needs be met? So number one, because if your legitimate needs are met, and we'll get into soon what that means, if those needs are met, what ends up happening is your wife ends up benefiting in the long run. So maybe in the short run, she may not like it, but in the long run, she will like it, because it's actually going to excite you. When your intimate needs, your sexual needs are met, your opinions are respected, you actually get a confidence and energy and really a higher level of love and passion that you're willing to reinvest back into the marriage, because you're feeling more fulfilled. And a lot of guys make this mistake of choking themselves and sacrificing and doing things for their wives to please her or to just shut her up. Sometimes some guys will do that. And in the long run, what ends up happening is it generates a lot of resentment, a tremendous amount of resentment on the part of the husband, because here he is doing everything for her, trying to please her, doing things around the house, laundry, dishes, cooking, paying for bills, taking care of the kids, even sometimes buying her flowers, and now he's not getting anything back. He's not getting any return. So ultimately, it robs you if you don't have your needs met. It's not, and you cannot be a martyr for too long, right? You can do it in the short term for a week, a month, or something like that, or a couple of months. But over the long run, what happens is it ends up tearing at your nerves. And I know, because I went through it myself, and I've watched hundreds of people go through it, and many of them were my clients. And I watched, when they did it the wrong way, when they did it the right way. It's really important to have your needs met. Another reason, and this is the part that a lot of people don't understand, is that if you just do whatever you want and you bend over backwards to sacrifice and please her, what that does is it actually tells your wife that you're clueless. It actually says that you're spineless, you're not manly, you're not a leader, and she doesn't respect you. She may use you, she may like you because you're convenient for her, but she doesn't respect. Respect and love doesn't come from convenience. On the other hand, if you do this incorrectly, what's going to happen is it's going to backfire. And I touched on it before. And here's a mistake guys make. Some guys watch my videos and they say, all right, so I'm going to stand up for my needs. And a lot of guys do it the wrong way. Notice, usually when we talk about no compromise, it's in the context of a bigger strategy. So I'll give you an example. Jalapeno, how does that fall into marriage? Jalapeno is an ingredient. It's not a recipe. You can't make a recipe out of jalapeno, only jalapeno. You're going to get sick. It's an ingredient in a recipe to make the recipe. Now, in the right amount, with the right ingredients, baked or cooked or used or sauteed in the right way, jalapeno is terrific. If you like it, right? But you get what I'm saying. It's not a recipe. And the mistake that guys make is they approach this attitude of no compromise. And this is the area I want to touch on. The previous things we've said in previous videos, but this is one that I'm seeing a big mistake come out, is they say, I'm going to stand up for myself. I'm going to do what's right for me, make sure my needs are met, and yada, yada, and all that. And the problem with that is, it's like taking jalapeno and making a cake, making a soup out of it. It's meant to be used in certain proportions, a very small proportion. So standing up for yourself is an art. It's critical. It has to happen. Like I said before, it will invigorate you. It will give you energy. It'll give you motivation. It'll make you excited to invest in the marriage if your needs are met. But you can't stand up for your way and pick issues that shouldn't be picked. For example, and the reason for that is because if you do that, you're basically telling your wife in her world that you're out of touch. You don't have emotional intelligence. You don't have intuition. You don't have sensitivity. You don't have the ability to really detect what's good for her. You're just thinking about yourself. What I wanted to do today is make a video that helps you understand what no compromise looks like and how it's supposed to be done the right way. It has to be done, first of all, you notice almost every time I talk about no compromise, all the major trainings we've done over here, you'll see I talk about it the last thing. It's number 3 or number 5. It's always at the end of the presentation. Why do I talk about it at the end? Because it has to be done at the end. It's simple. You have to do it at the end. You can't start off investing in a marriage by not compromising. Not compromising is like the grand slam when you've done the right things over a period of time and you've pressed the right buttons and you've made her feel certain things and made her feel impressed and shocked her and showed her that you can read her and you can see her and you know how to figure out what she wants and what she feels without her having to explain it to you. Then you come with no compromise and you pick in the right way. Now we're talking business. That's the right way to do it. And that's the way we do it in AMFT. Whenever we walk a client through the process is we first detect, okay, let's impress your wife. Let's shock her. Let's change the story she has about you. Let's mess around with the story she has in her head about you. What do we need to do to make that happen? And then we say, okay, how do we do it in a way that protects your interests at the same time, promotes your interests, your opinions, your needs, legitimate needs, and moves your agenda forward in an objective way, in a strategic way. But you don't start off by not compromising. And that's the danger I see by guys. You have to have your needs met. You're out of touch, buddy. The way you're supposed to do it is you have to, I'll give you another example, is you have to be able to show your wife that you're able to get through her mixed messages, that you are the expert at figuring out her mixed messages. And that's one of the main pillars we do in AMFT. Only then can you do no compromise. No compromise does not exist in a vacuum. Otherwise, if you only come with the attitude of I'm not going to compromise, you're basically saying I'm going to make a salad out of jalapeno. Well, that's going to be horrible. If you had cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers and lettuce and you put a little jalapeno, that'd be great. But guys come in with this attitude of I'm not going to compromise. And as important as it is, it's poorly timed. There's no proportion. There's no sequence. And that's why they don't get the results, and worse, it backfires. So it ends up being a disservice by promoting this idea of no compromise. Let me know if this makes sense. If you can relate to it in your marriage, if you've tried this before, have you tried no compromising and then seeing how it backfires, or have you tried no compromise and seeing how it does work, and what have you done that made it work? So back to the point, the way you have to pick a no compromise, there's a few things. Number one, it's the topic that you pick. What do you want to insist in your marriage? There's 30, 40 different things you could want. What are you going to pick? For example, some people will fight over in-laws. In-laws influence, money, kids, doing house chores. You have to pick something which is perfectly appropriate for your situation, not too advanced and not too small. If it's too small, you look like you have no balls. If it's too advanced, you're out of touch with reality. And certain things don't have to be thought about because they're going to fall into place later on. So for example, once your wife gets attracted to you and she desires you and she respects you, you're not going to have a hard time dealing with in-laws. But if you start off dealing with in-laws, if you start off fighting about the influence and the involvement of family, for example, then you're actually battling the wrong battle because it's poorly timed. And again, this really varies. It really has to be custom-made for a situation. But in some situations, what the guy needs to stick up for himself is say, I'm not doing household chores. I don't want to do that many household chores. I'll do some, but these are what I want to do. This is what I don't want to do. And that's an important fight. It's an important, so to speak, no compromise issue where you have to put your foot down with a strategy and insist on having your needs met, because if you keep doing it, you're going to keep robbing yourself. You're going to keep feeling bitter. You're going to keep feeling resentful. You're going to keep feeling used and abused to a certain degree. So it's the topic that you pick has to be carefully planned. You can't just pick any topic. It's not just let's just fight about anything. Let's just fight about the kids, right? Let me just insist on educating them the way I want to educate them and let the chips fall where they may. No, that's probably going to be not a good choice of an argument. Most times, in most situations, it's not a good idea to argue about the kids. No compromise has to be in something that's going to fuel you. It has to be in something that if you get this thing done, it's going to make you feel really good. For some people, it could be sex. For some people, it could be certain opinions on certain subjects. For some people, it could be in messing around the narrative in the wife's head. The wife has an idea about who they are, and they don't compromise on that. And we teach them how to present themselves in a way that is completely the opposite of what she thinks you are, for the purpose of moving her out of the place that she's stuck in mentally with you. You get what I'm saying? Some of this is a little bit advanced stuff, but we're recording it so you can listen to it again if you have to put it together. The second thing is when. So the first thing is what topic you picked to not compromise. The second thing is when do you do it? You have to do it after you have shocked her, like I said before. It cannot be done the first day. It's the sequence. Just like in any recipe, there's a sequence, right? Raw eggs are great, in a cake. But even then, you got to put it in before you bake the cake, not afterwards. Because it's not only about the ingredient, it's when you use it. So you have to use no compromise carefully. So number one, you have to pick the right topic. Number two, you have to do it carefully. And number three, how you present it is very important. There's a way you can present no compromise that it's all about you. And then you can present no compromise in a way that it's about her. In a way that you pitch it to her that it's actually good for her. And that's really what it comes down to, no compromise, about how to use it effectively. And again, there are two other pillars. I mean, we're not going to go through it this week's. We've done it in previous week's trainings. You have to also unlock your ability to read the leaking bucket, the things that are messing around with your plan, the things that are ruining, undermining your plan, the 2% of the things that you're saying or doing, which takes away all the other investment, all the effort, all the sincerity you have in your effort. This is for guys who really love their wives. They really want a complete plan. They're not looking to manipulate their wives. They're not looking to just take a technique or two. They want a comprehensive plan to regain their respect, to regain their passion, to regain their intimacy. But they understand that it's not a magical process that happens by watching one video and just saying something to manipulate their wives. It's for guys who want to go deep and really understand what is it that makes their wife tick? What is it that makes her respect them? Long term, not short term. So if that's you and you want to explore if AMFT is a good fit for you or not, just write over here, no compromise. Type in the chat, no compromise, and one of the specialists on my team will reach out to you. They'll run a diagnosis on your marriage. They'll get a better picture of what's going on, of what's not going on, see if the AMFT is appropriate for you or not. This is not for people who are just thinking in terms of, oh, how do I get her into bed? Or how do I get her to respect my opinion? It's for people who understand that they want to have a passionate, loving marriage. They want their wife to feel their love too. But they also understand that part of her feeling their love is for them to feel wanted and needed and for them to be appreciated. Part of your wife feeling love will really come ultimately and consistently when you feel appreciated, when you feel your investment makes sense, when your effort makes sense, when your energy, when your financial contribution to the marriage is being appreciated. That's when she's ultimately going to feel the real love, because that's when your heart opens up. That's when you, as a man, stop sacrificing so much and stop being a martyr so much, and you start actually living in flow and being more present and being more loving, because it's going both ways. Ultimately, it is about going both ways. So if that's you, if you want a complete plan, a solid strategic plan, custom made for your situation, and to see if AMFT is a good fit for not, reach out. You can type over here, don't compromise, and I'll have somebody reach out to you shortly. All right? God bless you. Have a good evening and take care.